All right, let's get to the questions and answers from the live chat. Bash, what we got tonight? Hit me up.
Cool. We got Teresa on YouTube. What do you suggest your players do? This is specifically to the Masters. What do you suggest your players do with the phones before they tee off on tournament days? Checking messages or reading emails could be a distraction.
It could be, but so is also worried about what's on that machine that they don't answer. Speaking from somebody with anxiety who bought an Apple Watch with cellular service, so I wouldn't be a week. Because when I go into the stadium or I go into the course at the Augusta, I can't have my phone with me, so I went and bought an Apple Watch, that cellular package, so I could get my messages. I want them to do whatever they do. Some players like to read their phones before they tee off as a way to decompress. They may, get a text from their significant other, their wife, kids. I've got some that will FaceTime their kids before they go. And so if that brings them peace of mind, then I'm all for it. A lot of them have a routine. Like warm up, the phone will be in their back pocket or in their bag, in their belt bag. They'll pull it out, they'll look at it, and they'll be like, all right, let's lock in and let's go. So I like them to do whatever. I used to have mixed feelings about music and warming up with music. Now I let them whatever they want to do because everybody else warms up with music. So I'm all about that. Can you imagine taking batting practice without music? Or jobs, you may not have speakers in this.
Come on, dude. All right, Andrew on YouTube.
Comment, yeah.
What's that?
No comment to that.
No, I mean, we did mix in a national championship this year, so budget increased. Yeah. Budget increased a little bit. From Andrew on YouTube, what is going on in Rory's head right now?
So I'm going to say some things that probably going to be unpopular when I say this. I didn't like bringing in somebody for the Masters, and he brought in Bob Rotella, who's one of the legends of the game. Tons of respect for Rotella. Don't know the decision-making as to why he brought him in. It was like, hey, I'm bringing him in this week. I know there's been a relationship in the past, but I'm bringing him in this week because I'm trying everything I can. To me, that work should have been done long before the golf course ever occurred. So I felt like it was a Hail Mary to try to get some stuff done. If I was coaching Rory, I'm not. If I've spoken to Rory, I haven't. I don't know what's going on. He's squeezing it so hard right now to try to get the Masters done. And instead, I would look at it as, look, we're not in position. He backdoored a second place finish last year. We was never really in contention. We got to get the leading events and some rounds. How do we do that? What's the game plan? I think his natural mechanism is to hit it harder. I think he needs to get a little bit more creative in what he's doing and paint the picture. I heard Rotella told him to be more childlike. He can be childlike, but at the same time, we got to look at his opportunities and stack the opportunities in our favor. So I'm sure he's disappointed. If he were to call, I'd love to work with somebody like him. But I mean, he hadn't called me yet, so probably not going to. But that being said, never know. And I would love to take that thing because the guy is extremely good for the game and a tremendous ambassador for the game.
Taylor on YouTube says, what would you say to someone, in parentheses me, who didn't trust a shot they hit until the 13th hole?
Yeah, if that's a warm-up issue or the fact that you're getting started in a tournament and trust shows up on the 13th hole, just be thankful it showed up. The thing is, if we're having trust issues getting started, we better come up with a game plan to deal with that. So how do we hit golf shots without trust? That's where I would look at, what can we do to build that trust? And know what shot we can hit when we have low trust. You don't have the choice to not hit them, right? I didn't have the choice to not throw a pitch. A pilot who's got difficulty in his ears flying with the cockpit and autopilot doesn't have the choice to land the plane and start over. Sometimes you have to persevere with what you got and stay in it. The problem is when we're watching other athletes, we don't see them with a trust meter. So we don't know. We just assume that they don't trust themselves. And so that's something I would take a look at.
That's from Scott on YouTube. Did Scotty over-prepare?
No, I think, look, Scotty Scheffler did not play bad at the Masters, right? He didn't make putts. If he had made putts early in the tournament, it would have been a completely different situation. He's got a tremendous coach, Randy Smith. He's got a great team around him. He's going to be just fine. It's hard to defend. Only done 3 times, I think, in the Masters history. I don't think he overprepared. I think he follows his preparation plan to a T. I think Scotty's wise beyond his years when it comes to that, and he knows what it takes to succeed. So, stud of a player.
From Dan on YouTube, what do you tell a player when you notice they're putting more pressure on themselves during a major week, and how do you get them to realize it's just another event?
Superb question. So one of the things that we try to do when we know a player is putting a lot of attention, we lay out a structured plan. What do we want to do every day? What do we want to do? And if it's already kind of getting away from us, is that as coaches we'll talk and say, look, don't get put up chasing technique right now. Get them back to the basics, get them back to that, and then navigate them through that storm. And we've had that conversations a couple times as coaches. It's a common interaction. I do a lot of my coaching through coaches because I may say something to a player and they're like, what? But if I say it through the coach delivers the information, it tends to attack and get it done. So if we know somebody's putting a lot of pressure on their preparation, we'll simplify, we'll get back to the basics. And so we'll keep them from what I call chasing squirrels out there. Let's get them focused on the things that matter. Focus on what's important and build confidence. Don't go chasing the extraneous things out there and go from there.
Kind of a follow-up from Dan. And when a player is in the last group, how do you tell them to distract themselves when they have so much time before teeing off?
Well, thankfully, somebody like John yesterday had a quick turn, right? 2 hours, get some lunch, change some clothes, and get ready to go. But it's something a player has to learn in the professional ranks to have a 2 o'clock tee time. And so, somebody like me and Bash, we'd play 7 and 8 o'clock games at night. What did you typically do during the day if you didn't have class?
It was pretty structured from a routine standpoint as far as meals and sometimes study hall, that sort of thing during
Stay
school.
busy, right?
Yeah, things to do.
You got up out of bed. The worst thing to do in the late tee time is to sleep late. Get up at the same time, get moving. I tell players to get up in the morning, go exercise, come back, shower, go eat breakfast, then go do some stuff, go to Starbucks, go to Fresh Market, call your family, and then shower again and go to the golf course. You're like, 2 showers? It's like, yeah, wake up, get moving, right? So, something to do is stay busy. I tell them to go sit in the lobby of the hotel if they need to.
From Fred on YouTube, can you dive deeper into the "be like a goldfish" or? And this
I can't take it.
And is this the same principle for thinking about feel and practice swings than just let it happen when hitting the shot?
So what he's referred to is John Rahm last year made a comment of he's trying to think more like a goldfish from Ted Lasso. And the goldfish is the happiest, animal on the planet because it has a very short memory. I take no credit for that one. That was him watching Ted Lasso. But I love it because he's always learning, right? But the whole idea is to let go and not allow thoughts and emotions to carry on from one to the other. I think that's critical. Same principle for thinking about feel and practice swings. Look, feel is not always real, but if you have a feel that you want to feel, take a practice swing behind the ball. Take a deep breath, clear line, and be like, okay, now let's go. That feel is in there. You don't have to force it anymore. That's what I always look at it.
This is from Marcelo. Do your players actively meditate on the course? Do they focus for a very short period of time and then relax, chatting with the caddy, etc.?
That's a great question. I don't teach formal meditation to them. I don't want them trying to do more. It's something that they don't do. For a lot of players, when they get in the competitive environment, it is a meditative-like experience. Yes, their mind is racing. Yes, their heart rate's pushing, but they're also in their most comfortable spot in their life, which is out on the field. Now, wherever it is. I mean, I felt so comfortable out on the mound. You probably felt comfortable behind the plate, Bash. There's a routine to it. So I never wanted to add anything to them. Like I may every once in a while say, hey, look, let's add a breath. You take a look at John. John sometimes leads the club against his thing and slows down. Sometimes he doesn't. I'm good with that. And so to me, I want them to feel comfortable in their environment without having to do more. I actually try to get them to be interested observers. Just be open and experiential to the experience. Man, I love these questions and answers.
Yeah, they're actually really phenomenal tonight.
Well, I think there always are. I think we need to do more of these. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Send some feedback for our listeners, y'all listening to this. If you guys like the question and answer, we'll make this middle game live a lot more question and answer. So anyway, just throwing that out there.
From Brian on YouTube, what are some things players like to do before an event to feel like they're ready for battle?
They each have their checklists. Every single player has their checklist that they want to feel. They want to have certain things in place for where the tournament that they're going. They want to make sure they're clubs and they feel comfortable with the shots they're going to hit. And, like we'll say Billy or Sam or Davis or Patton or one of those guys, they all have their way of getting ready. The thing that I want them to be the most ready for, regardless, is that they can handle whatever's coming their way. Doesn't matter what's going to happen, that they feel like they can face the challenges in front of them. If they can do that, we're good to go. So I want them to always take account and take inventory before they leave on the practice days and realize that they got everything they needed done.
From Andrew on YouTube. What was your most proud part about watching Rahm dig deep and chase down the leaderboard for the W?
I would have to say when his family was there with him on the green afterwards. That meant a lot to me. And seeing the other coaches that were there, I didn't stick around, but seeing my colleagues get to celebrate with him, I wish I were there, but it was nice to come home and spend some time with family. And that was more important to me because family is so important. His family unit is critical to me, and that's where I very supportive of what they're doing. So to see Kelly and kids there, see his dad, her parents there, just freaking amazing. That was pride, absolute pride. Like I knew, like I always say this about John. Like what am I going to do? Teach him how to get a golf shot? I want him to be a better person, and knowing that impact on his family is there, phenomenal.
From Tom, what was your opinion of the Encourse chat during the Masters?
Thought I'd never see them with the AirPod in walking. I don't know. I think it's a shtick that's going to be over here pretty soon. I think I like the idea of giving us some insight, but I think it's going to play itself out. I like them being able to interact. At a major, I was like, okay, but I think over time we're going to get to a spot like, can we get back to going? I thought the one that was the coolest was watching Max Homa read his putts with his caddy, Joe Griner, and I was sitting there with his coach while they were doing it. And that was kind of cool because Mark, does a lot of work, but to listen to him go through that process, that was cool. I don't know if I'd want every interaction recorded on the golf course. I wouldn't want every interaction I had in the dugout or with my coach on the mound recorded. Sometimes things are said to you about you and whatever that's not really cared about, and I didn't take it personal. But people take it out of context and they connect the dots. I think having those conversations, great. It's a great insight right now. I think you're going to see probably more of that interaction when they do their Monday night league on the simulators. That's going to be probably pretty cool. I'll start next year.
Max he's amazing. What
He
a
is.
guy. Let's go with Teresa on YouTube. During the summer season, when tournaments are weekly, what's the best way to refocus so you don't carry over those negative emotions from the outcome of the prior week?
Journal. Do a complete review, close the page, turn the page, close the book, and move on to the next one's the only way to do it. If you don't download, you'll carry. You got to download it.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question.
Okay.
So I've tried to do that. I've always been told like journal. I just cannot. I can't see the benefit. Like it's.
What about statistical analysis?
What do you mean?
Well, why not look at stats and analyze your stats? That can be journaling.
That's true.
Or some players will just send me a voice memo when they're done.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be Dear Diary.
I think that's maybe like the misconception, I think, from my perspective. Because I tried, and I think I was kind of like forced into a certain way of doing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just can't sit here long enough. But I don't think it has to be, like you're saying, I don't think it has to be in the traditional sense of like.
It does not. By no means does it have to.
I don't have to go get a flowery diary and write down.
You could buy the Elite Journal, right?
There's that.
Yeah. But that forces, but I want people to do their own thing. Like, I love when they send me voice memos. It's quick, it's to the point, it's over.
But I do like the point about unloading kind of downloading it out and unloading it off.
I think the biggest mistake if you're a coach out there is when somebody comes to you and they kind of have still some emotions, and they come off the course, they come off the thing, and they're like fired up, man. They're angry. It's like you're trying to fix them. Just let them vent. Just let them vent. Like, don't try to fix them in that situation. Just let them vent and download that information. It's like it's not personal.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
All right, one more. What we got?
Let's go. Fred had a follow-up. What's the best way to not hit straight the exact thing I don't want to hit? Example, houses on the right, thinking to yourself, don't hit it right, then you hit it straight right.
My biggest pet peeve in the mental game, that the mind doesn't know what don't means. I've heard that for years. That's such garbage, such garbage, such garbage. There's no scientific fact to that. Okay, that was made up in a brochure years ago. All right, so the fact is when we see something we don't want to do, we tend to fixate on and we guide our mechanics over there because we're locking in. I'd rather you look at it and go, well, no kidding, I don't want to hit it over there. But now where do I want to hit it? Give yourself the time to focus on it and then return the channel back to where you want to hit it. If you hit it over there, deal with it. But at least be locked into what you want to do. That's it. Make sense?
No, I like it.
All right. When we come back, we're going to wrap up Mental Game Live and tell you how you can get more involved in what your goal for the week is. Be right back.